See you, Rev.
It's a hard thing when humanity has to simply fight for humanity. It's a hard thing when you're outside a building that's called the Department of Justice and you can find no justice.
Lots of police, no justice.
It's hard when in this country of ours, the government should be afraid of the people, but instead, the people are instead afraid of the government.
Yeah.
We're here today because simply to do two things. The first thing is that we're connecting the dots between Michael Brown, who was killed, and we're demanding that Darren Wilson is arrested. We're demanding that all of those who have faced police brutality, particularly from police, are held accountable. We're also here to connect the dots because we recognize that if we have a country that can't treat its planet correctly, then they can't treat its people correctly either. Those two things go hand in hand. And so I definitely commend all of you for being out here today on this historic day, this day when, after the election, there are many of those who might be confused about how really government works as they debate between the lesser of two evils in some cases. We know that this has to be where we are, that this entity is our Department of Justice. Individuals work for the people. They're not here to police the people. They're not here to control the people. They're here to protect the people. That is their only job, is to make sure in this country, on this land, that we have justice. That is the purpose of this entity. That's the purpose of this building. It's the purpose of this administration. The lawyers in here, the counselors in here, those counselors, those program coordinators in this building, these police officers are simply here to make sure that in our country, this country, we have justice. That means if you are a person of color, you should not be afraid of anybody wearing a badge or a gun. That means in this country, wrong corporations like Exxon and BP shouldn't be allowed to pollute the people in that country. That means that we truly have justice, and justice does not have a price. So they can line up here with guns and badges and barricades. To me, it is totally wrong when you can have citizens and people coming to this sidewalk, and instead of being met with, hi, what do you need? What can we do? Are we doing something wrong? Is something going on? Why are you upset? Why are you here? Instead of being met with those kind of open arms of true justice, people are met at these gates with fear and reprisal and with hate, and we're standing here with guns and badges and barricades. Instead of opening the doors to justice, we have nothing but the exclusion of justice.
That's right, that's what it is. Exclusion of justice. You hear us? Exclusion. We want it.
So it should be. It should be that when people come to this place, to be met with open arms. But today we have a lot of work to do. Let me say this as we close. Some of you were there. Some of you were there when I myself was beaten by police. The times we were protesting the war, and I was beaten in the hallways. They literally broke my leg. And I never forgot how it felt when those, particularly for me, and there, where's my sister from the, for Veterans for Peace.
Here I am. Yeah.
So, for me, everybody sit there and say, well, God, that guy's making a lot of noise. He's really riled up. So let me give you a little background in my resume. So, for many years, I was an officer in the United States Air Force. Took the oath to protect this country and the Constitution from foreign and domestic enemies.
Yep.
Put my life on the line. Now, as a young brother going through, I have to go through college, go through officer training school, do all those things to become an officer. Stationed at the Pentagon and Andrews and all around. But the one thing that I recognize for me, as a person of color, who grew up in this country, people say, well, you should be part of that system, is that I also believe this, that as a former officer, the one thing that I would stand for is justice and equality. And whoever is on the other side of justice and equality, they become my enemy. No matter who you are, if you are either on the side of justice, then you are our friends. If you're not on the side of justice, then you are our enemy. Because this country is supposed to be built on justice and equality. So we can stand here as former military people who recognize that, one, we want this country to make sure that the killer, Michael Brown, is arrested. And two, we want that the pollution and the wreckage of our climate from Dominion Power Plant, Coal Point, to the coal power plants, the coal companies, West Virginia and Appalachian Mountains who are wrecking our environment, Pennsylvania, to those who are trying to build now this Keystone Pipeline and lie about jobs and all that kind of stuff, to those in Chevron who killed and destroyed homes in Richmond, California, to those who are destroying homes in Houston, to those tens you know who are still suffering from Sandy, to those who are still suffering the 10th anniversary of Katrina, to those who are in Africa who are suffering because of our own pollution, for those all around the world who are suffering because of what these companies are doing simply because of greed. Our job is to protect against foreign and domestic enemies. And today, you are standing here in solidarity to make that happen. So all together, raise our fist, and we say to all of us, power to the people!
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 We say, I say can't stop, you say won't stop. Can't stop!
Won't stop!
Can't stop!
Won't